Should be good to go.
Thank you so much, Steph. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Highway Parks and Recreation Committee meeting. It is May 5th. Welcome. Laura, can you start us by just doing a quick attendance, and then we'll approve the minutes?
You bet. Linda O'Brien, Brian Backus, Ismat Alam, Josh Hawley, Laura Robertson, Matt Yetto, Seth Goldstein, Paul Briggs, Pete Ravicka, Ray Smith, Councilman Jakewith, Stan Faminsky, and Yakov Polachuk.
Thank you so much. Okay, now we need a motion to approve the minutes. Can someone move?
I do. I approve.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Any opposed? The minutes are approved. Thanks all. Yakov is with us again this morning. Yakov, are you ready to speak?
I am. Thank you.
Okay. Take it away.
Hi. My name is Yakov again. Coming back here from a previous meeting. In the previous meeting, we discussed the Orchard Park playground and what are the next steps to trying to make that happen. And I'm going to present a presentation right now that I made about the progress. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Excellent. So the main thing that came away with from a previous meeting is that I needed to go around and get a petition going to make sure that there was broad support from the surrounding neighborhood to create this playground. So we went around with this petition here. We were saying that there's a small park that is located in our neighborhood that right now is just a green space and some trees. And it could be a place where the neighbors could come together, the children could come together, and it could be a place that people could walk to rather than having to drive to one of the surrounding parks in the area. And it could be a nexus where the neighbors could come together and become more acquainted with each other. Just to set everyone about where this place is actually, because not everyone's aware of where the Orchard Park neighborhood is. This is the high school here. This is Balltown Road, River Road here, and Van Antwerp and Knott Street. This is how at least I define the neighborhood, because everyone within this area can relatively easily walk to anywhere else within this area. But it's very hard for at least small children to walk anywhere else from here because you're surrounded by these very highly trafficked roads that are that don't always have an easy way to get out of them. And this is the actual Orchard Park area. It's a small green space. Part of it is mowed lawn, and part of it is trees. So we went around and we told people that this is what we're planning and that we were asking the town to put in a small children's playground, maybe a couple of picnic tables and some benches for the parents or whoever else might be interested in enjoying the park. So this is kind of a distillation of my efforts so far. I went around and I wanted to make sure that everyone whose properties directly touched or had direct visibility of the Orchard Park were informed of my petition, and I wanted to get their viewpoint on this and what would be their concerns and how they felt about it. Overall, I believe we do have broad support. So kind of to understand this map, anything that is unmarked, these are just properties, but I was either never got to them or I was not able to get anyone. Whenever I came by, no one was there. And I tried several times. I've been doing this for about 3 weeks now. So I tried several times for most places, except for the Jade and Morrow Loop. I only, one of my acquaintances here, he actually did this and we only went around there once. So I'll go through there again and ask some people there. Can everyone still hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Yakov.
Excellent. So overall, there was very broad support for this. most people were very excited, and they were like, this is a great idea, or why wasn't this done before? I wish it was here for when my kids were around. But there were definitely some concerns. The concerns kind of split into so here's the signature pages just for reference, and here, and the concerns mainly split into a couple of different categories. People were concerned about additional traffic, which the intention is not to have this park as a drive-in park. If you wanted to drive somewhere, you might as well drive to like River Road Park or Blatnick Park or any number of the other parks that are pretty big, very accessible, and have good parking and driving capabilities to them. Another large concern was reduced privacy, because right now a lot of the people who are right around the park, you can look out and you can see a beautiful park in your background, in your backyard. But if there's a playground and additional human traffic inside the park, it would change the nature of that park. So that was one of the concerns. But there are some locations within the park that are less visible and less intrusive than others, which would obscure the playground from the houses and the houses from a playground. So there might be a way to deal with that. Along those same lines, there's right now the park is a very natural looking space. It's just trees and grass. So there was a desire to keep that feel of it, that it should still feel like a natural piece of land. And then there was the concern about what other behaviors is a park and benches going to attract to the area. So to alleviate some of those concerns, we identified two different spots. This is a satellite view of the same area. We identified two different spots in the park which may be good for putting in the playground. Location number one is right inside the wooded area. It doesn't look it on the map, but there's a small clearing about 45 feet by 45 feet. And it's got a lot of brush in it, but no trees would have to be taken down. But it is inside the woods. And from there, when the leaves come in, no one can really, you can kind of see it, obviously, if you look for it. But at first glance, if you just kind of look in the park, you won't be able to see it very well. And so these three houses right here, this one, and this one, and as well as this one right here, all had concerns about, if the playground goes right here, it will be in their direct line of sight, and it will be very intrusive because they all have either decks or something along those lines, where people from a park would be able to see into their decks, and they would be able to see from their decks into the playground, and there will be increased noise. But when I walked with these three neighbors into this area, each one of them said, "Oh, this is a wonderful location," and it alleviated their concerns, and they signed the petition. Another area that is of potential interest. Now this one has some issues with it. It is relatively close to this property line here, about 70 feet away. And since it's inside the woods, and mosquitoes may be an issue, and we'd also have to do some clearing of the brush and maybe one or two dead trees. And there may be some access limitations for equipment. It seems like there's some room in there, but I can see how that could become an issue. The second location is right here. There's a little dimple in the green area that again would kind of obscure most people's views into a playground, and from a playground into most people's houses. But it is more intrusive for some of the houses. But there's some of the issues with this area is that there's a little drainage ditch that kind of runs from here along the back of these properties, and it comes out here. And there's an old drainage pipe that's supposed to take the water from here and to the creek that's along this line. But that pipe has settled over time, and it's raised out of the ground, so there's a little bit of a swamp back here, which creates a rather large wet area here. So whenever it drizzles or rains for a couple of days afterwards, this is a very wet area, and it is very wet right now. And also, obviously, this would be very close to this neighbor as well, which, very close is a relative term at 65 feet away. These are the example of structures that I printed out and I showed to people who had more questions about greater detail about what is it that we're actually trying to accomplish. So we're thinking about something that's a little more vertically oriented rather than horizontally because our spaces are limited. So we'd have to take advantage of more taller structures rather than wider structures. And then a lot of people had questions about funding, and that's something that I'm not exactly sure how much something like this costs, and how much is there in the budget of the town for this year, or how much of is there a possibility of putting into a budget for next year. Someone mentioned the possibility of a community build to reduce the labor costs, and according to one of the park playground manufacturers, this is a way to reduce the cost significantly. And then the other thing is, since the town is already taking care of the park to some extent, we would prefer that the town take care of this little bit of a park as well. So I'm not sure exactly what that would entail. I guess continuing mowing and maybe mulching from time to time. And so thank you very much for listening. Does anyone have any questions?
No, thank you, Yakov. So I met Yakov at the park space last week, and we walked through it. It is a beautiful space. We talked about we went through everything that Yakov just shared with the whole committee. Subsequent to that, I got back to him after speaking with Ray. Well, first of all, I, of course, told him we don't have any money for this in our budget this year at all. We talked about maintenance. Obviously, if there's a park there, that's additional cost to the town to maintain it, etc. We did talk about the problems with having it in that sort of wooded space. Ray highlighted for me that a playground like that would normally have to be in a space where it could be seen by police patrols, and that there's an issue with vandalism, etc. It is a great space, though. It is really, I'd never been there. Very lovely, really much larger than I would have anticipated. So that's sort of where we are, Yakov, where we talked about that this is something that I think is a great idea, but that it'll have to happen over time. And as I said, there's no money for us this year. It's a particularly difficult year financially. So, but I do think it's a great idea.
Okay, so what are the next steps for me then?
I guess continued support by neighbors. We did talk about that one gentleman who was averse to it being in that space. If it's going to be anywhere, and I'll look for Ray to jump in here as to why it really does need to be in that green space area, we'll have to make sure there's support for it. Make sure there's support for it there.
So Ray, could you elaborate further on the location of a park and whether it actually has to be in the green space or if it's just a preference? Because the reason I ask is because that was that kind of hits on two different people's concerns. One is that people who actually just take a stroll through the green area would prefer to keep the natural feel of a place, because as you kind of walk through there, you just feel like you're in the woods. And if there's a giant if there's a playground there, it kind of takes that feel away. So that's one reason to put it in the inside of a woods. And the second reason is because then it's obscured from every house. Really, you can't actually see it from any house once the leaves come in.
Right. So looking at this, location number 2 seems like a more suitable. I mean, the drainage pipe can be reset and improvements can be there. Could be even maybe extended to make a little more room tucked into the woods there. which would keep it somewhat concealed to the residents. Typically, we found playgrounds should be in an open area, one for just visibility of kids. If a kid got hurt, you know, you're talking about something that kids from the neighborhood would be going there. Probably wouldn't always have a parent. That's not mandatory, you know? So you definitely want something that maybe not standing right out where it would offend them, but you want it where at least somebody can see it, so that in case you do have a, you know, an issue with a child or vandalism issues, and also maintenance. So the newer style programs all have what they call carpet mulch underneath them as a cushion. So that has to be every year. We do all the playgrounds. We go around, we freshen up the carpet mulch and stuff like that. So wooded area is a little tougher to get in for maintenance wise. And two, you know, as far as visibility for police to monitor the park area and stuff like that.
So, Ray, would it be possible for us to meet in this area for you to see exactly what it looks like yourself? Because I think that some of those concerns are, I'm not sure if they're significant, at least, for example, like access. It doesn't look at from a picture, but there's actually quite a wide area there leading up to that space. And there is actually a small walking path that goes from here to here. So there's definitely some access. I'm not sure if it's enough for maintenance or not. So it would be good to get your perspective there. And the second part is area number 1 would probably be easier actually from a perspective of police and being able to see in there than area number 2, especially if you embed it any further. Area number 2, you can't see from any road. You can see it from a bunch of houses, but you can't see it from any of the roads. Like if you were on Fox Hill Drive, you would not be able to see into it at all. Or if you were on Morrow, again, you wouldn't be able to see anywhere on Morrow. So in that sense, I'm not sure if area number 2 is much better, but I think it might be best if we were to be able to meet there and you can kind of see for yourself what it looks like.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm familiar with the park. I've been here a while. I've walked through that park quite a few times.
There's one other constraint you might want to keep in mind too. There's a sanitary sewer easement that runs the entire length of the park. It's tucked more towards the opposite tree line.
This way?
Yeah, so just keep that in mind if you were to shift locations, because it goes down along that where your cursor is and then turns and heads back out towards Morrow at an angle. So it follows the tree line. There's a manhole right in the middle of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen the manhole. It's somewhere right here, I think.
There's another one down further. We had issues in the past with kids taking the covers off and throwing sticks down and plugging the sewers.
How can you?
So
those covers are not light.
Yeah, we were surprised. It was actually almost an entire tree branch that they shoved in there. It backed up the sewers for the entire neighborhood. So I would be concerned about the police being able to see it. That would be my main concern.
So, okay.
Okay, thank you, Yakov.
All right, thank you.
All right, we're going to go to the rest of the agenda, Ray.
Okay, so item number 1, our monthly water break bills for related water repairs on town roads. Bill is attached. Highway crews been working on plow damage, which they pretty much wrapped up any lawn damage around town. Tree requests and resident requests, washouts. Hot mix is now available, so more of a permanent fix on the patching. We'll be winding up for the prep crew to be going out, milling roads, cutting keyways, handing out letters to residents informing of a a basic idea of our schedule as far as paving. So that'll be starting up in the next few weeks, weather dependent. Number 4, personnel update. I know the new hires that were approved at the last board meeting are working with Margot in the comptroller's office to get all their paperwork done. Appointments are being made, and thanks to everybody involved in that. Number 5, have an additional seasonal labor application that we'll be submitting for this month for resolution. Number 6, yard waste update. So with this, I have a question to either Ismat or Paul Briggs or whatever. In reading the town's compliance for the town meetings and open board meetings and stuff, social distancing is still required. One of the challenges we had last year was we kept the weekly pickup on a random schedule. I have still not put 3 guys in one truck sitting, 6 inches apart. And it doesn't appear that the new protocol lets me do that. So what I'm basically asking is, and I would have to post this on the website, and that is, can we stay at a random pickup until such restraints are lifted where we can be in a normal atmosphere? So I'm only speaking of this on what I see as far as the guidelines for everything.
Okay. That's a very good question, Ray. I would think at this point, no, but I will do further research and I will let you know. That's a very good question.
Okay, so just so you know, and not to rush you, the scheduled pickup starts next Monday.
Okay, no, it's going to be done today.
Okay, so there's really no concerns on the part of everybody getting their yard waste picked up because we have been able to get through the town on a weekly basis. It's just having a specific day in which their area is picked up. So we did it all last season with no real hiccups. So this is just to confirm that. So if in fact we can't put 3 people in a truck, I will post it on a website that it will remain at a random pickup.
Understood. Yeah, let me just, I think it should be okay, but let me just do some research into it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Number 7, projects. I left this on here. I know we had spoke of the money for paving the driveway and that at the old water and sewer garage. Was that okay? Can I proceed and schedule paving of that area?
Yes, as long as you and Matt have discussed that, yes, absolutely. Because we are going to use an old bond money. So,
okay. I never really got a rock solid. I know there was support for it. I seen the emails, but I just wanted to be sure before I scheduled that we're okay to do that.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Matt, you good with that?
Yes.
Yeah, we met out there, and I think we're both on the same page. What would be a good level of paving? So no, I'm all for it.
And it was approved. I think Denise talked to you and she said it's approved. I think this is a go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much.
Ray and Matt, where it's being paved, would that affect potentially where the wire would run to connect the facilities between you two for the internet?
No, totally different site. We're at Blatnick Park.
Oh, okay. All right. Just want to make sure.
Okay, number 8, I left this on there as well, Blatnick Park sign. I have not had time to meet with a with a company to get some pricing on the Blatnick sign reconfiguration, or get any type of prototypes for everyone to review, but I will move forward on that to get a cost analysis and possibly a rendering of what the sign would look like. Number 9, I had spoke with Ismat a while back. She said that the bonding would be written probably the beginning of this month. So 2 of the bonded items I have are contracts. I believe one's an Onondaga contract, one's a state contract. The third is NJPA, but it's proven that when we do the NJPA ones, Janet is very good at doing the mini bids and have saved us a tremendous amount of money. So I'm just looking for an update on that so we can move forward with them.
We did the bonding. We got really good rates on that. So, and the money is in our bank account. We
So
received it. So you are, it's a go ahead.
So we can reach out and initiate the contracts for build outs.
Yep,
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate that.
you're welcome.
And then number 10, Schenectady County grant projects. I have spoken to the county. I got to do a letter to them requesting money back. We have some projects that were completed. We got some that are in the works right now. So hopefully they have to come out and inspect the work. I have spoke to them on the phone. So hopefully we'll be getting you some of your money back on these projects in the near future.
So Ray, what happened with the netting?
The netting, we ordered what was spec'd out from girls softball, and apparently the netting was not the proper netting, but because we installed it, they would not let us return it. I reached out to girls softball. Girls softball agreed to pay for the new netting out of their budget, not our budget. And we're just waiting for that netting to arrive, and we will switch the netting out.
Okay, got it. Okay, because we already spent like 7,000 on it, right?
Yeah, we spent the full amount of the bond for just material. We did the labor in-house, so there's really no cost to us there. Other than we just ran it under Parks Maintenance for the concrete and stuff that we used. So the full amount of the bond, or for the grant, was the equipment and the netting. But
Got
so
it. Okay,
we'll get our reimbursement for that.
Absolutely. Can you do me a favor, Ray? Can you
Sure.
please send me a list of the projects that we are asking for reimbursement and what is left?
A complete list, and then mark what we're looking for and what is ongoing.
Right, out of that county grant, yes, please.
Yep,
That'll
I'll
be a
get
big
that.
help to me.
Okay.
Thank you, Ray.
You're welcome. And I think that's it for me.
Thanks, Ray. So the only resolution would be for the one seasonal hire, correct?
I do have one more. I have another one that I have to. It was my bad last month. The Brightview extension of the holding ponds. They've agreed to hold the price on 2, 3, 4, 6 additional holding ponds. So I'll get that stuff to Elena.
Okay, all right. And yes, for everybody's information, I also spoke with Dave Apkarian about the netting when it first happened. Again, as Ray noted, he ordered what was spec'd out by them. It was just incorrectly spec'd, which is why they're, agreeing to cover the cost of the new netting. But, Ray did all the labor. We also invested some money in the cement, et cetera. That wasn't covered, but we're taking care of that. So thanks again for that, Ray.
You're welcome.
All right, we're moving on to Tree Council. Laura, good morning.
Good morning. So our day was a great success, and I wanted to thank the highway department very much.
Laura, hold on a second. Isma, could you turn off your, okay, great. So we're having trouble hearing you. I'm turning off the floor. Hold on.
If I'm echoing, sometimes I need to sign off and back on again. Is it bad for everybody?
You are echoing.
Okay, wait, hold on.
Okay.
Oops. Is that better?
Much better. Thanks, Laura.
Yeah, that fixes everything. If you guys. So highway came for Arbor Day, and they did a great job planting the 2 sassafras trees, and then they spruced everything up so that when people would drive through, it looked really nice up there. They patched some of the holes in the parking lot, and it was just a very thorough and totally awesome effort. And both the tree council and I think the people who are involved in Arbor Day and the people who came for trees all appreciated that. So I'm very thankful for it. We gave away I think we had like maybe 15 trees left over out of 310, but it was definitely like towards the end, we gave some to a Girl Scout troop and some to a Boy Scout troop. Carol, the tree council lady, thinks that our sweet spot maybe for tree giveaways between 250 and 275. So, but we had somebody, the tree giveaway started at 10. We had somebody lined up at 9:05 and we had cars from, the parking lot at the senior center all the way to almost Ravine. So that's a good length of cars. I'm just guessing probably at least 80 cars that were in line before we opened. So it was really successful and very fun. And thanks to the highway department for that. The Complete Streets Committee has been looking at Wyoming Ave, and they've been really diving into different things to do there. And one of them noted to me that so they've been researching, we've been talking about possibly putting a speed table there. But when we do like temporary demonstration projects, it's normally very low cost because like Ray knows, we painted tires, which maybe wasn't everybody's favorite. And then we have our own little cones and everything that we can use to signal different ways for traffic to move through the road. But a temporary speed table, just a temporary one, costs $5,000. And it has to be drilled into the road, even though it's temporary, so that it doesn't move around when cars go over it. And so I guess what we were wondering is, it's a temporary thing, so you could get it and then you could move it, kind of like your signs. But that's a significant investment, and that's more than our demonstrations projects normally cost. We can normally actually take care of it in-house. So we were wondering if that would be something that the town would support us doing right now, or if we want to look at other things on Wyoming. We're thinking permanent installation is probably in the range of about $10,000. And when the lady was talking to the people who do the speed tables, which I guess is also the same company that does the flashing speed signs, is that you can expect to have to maintain them every 2 years due to winter wear because of the plows and stuff hitting the rubber. So one of the things, one, we were wondering if it's something that we want to move forward with. If we want to look at stuff that doesn't cost money, we were thinking one of the other options we could do is like right now that intersection is a yield and it has very wide pavement. And one of the comments we heard on the Knott Street proposal actually was to make those curves not such a gentle curve, make them, almost more of a 90, but it wouldn't be like a full 90 because I know that there's radiuses for fire trucks and stuff like that. But like to shorten those curves so that there's less distance for people to be walking across the asphalt. And we didn't know if this is possible, but it seems like a good location to change the yield sign to a stop sign, especially if we can just change the edges of the pavement there a bit. But it would be interesting, and we didn't know, like, if we signed changes to traffic pattern ahead or something like that, if we could put a demonstration stop sign there. We weren't sure if that's legal. So is Paul, I was going to email Paul Riggs and see what he thought about that.
Hey, Laura? Hi, Laura. This is Ismet. Hi. Can you send me all the information and what you're looking for, and I'll do some research on it too?
Sure. Yeah.
And the cost and everything, yeah, because I think should it be brought together with PD and you know, those kind of things you could send me that I'd be more than happy to look into it too.
Okay, my volunteer has all the information and she verbally talked to me about it, but I don't see the email yet from her. So when I get it, I'll send it to you and Ray and anybody who wants it.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you.
So I don't know what anybody else thought about that.
Ray, do you have any comments on the speed table? I mean, cost aside, just, you know, maintenance. When you say maintenance, Laura, I imagine that means replacement.
I don't know. Again, my volunteers have been working very hard on this for me, and they just gave me like a breakdown to bring to our meeting. But it didn't sound like full replacement. And there's actually differences in cost. My volunteer told me that if you do a 5-foot wide speed table, it's less. It's like $2,300 or something, and then the 10-foot wide one, which is the more typical one, is the $5,000 one.
Well, I guess we could look at and, you know, report back when we know what we're talking about.
Okay, so when I get that email, I'll send it just to everybody.
Thanks, Laura.
Okay, and then I don't have too much about this except Complete Streets asked me again, you know, the number one priority we had for the town for sidewalks this year was the one block on Plum Street between Hillside Elementary and Van Antwerp. Just that one block, I think, would be a really big win. And the person who lives there, which would be a tough sidewalk to put in because the house on that corner is so close to the road, but the person who lives there right now is willing to work with the town on the sidewalk. So that's like an unusual trifecta of things. And it's a very, very small portion that would be highly visible and helpful. So I'm just gonna put that out there. If we know of any way to do it. So the Conservation Advisory Council is working on the LOMO initiative. I added Lori put it in. But so I sent you guys a map of the area of restricted mowing. We changed it based on trails that we saw when we were out there and disc golf holes. So I don't know, Ray, did you have a chance to look at the map and see if it looked like it would be okay with you? I actually had two versions. One, because there looks like there's already a low-mow area in the park, which I included, but the other one was to just start the low-mow sort of straight across where the golf range starts. I can bring it up on my computer. Hold on.
There's a low mow area where the bobolinks are that we leave, where we currently dump. That area is a low mow. Inside, Mr. Thornton had advocated for that in the past. But that's on the other side of the dump site.
Oh, okay. This area here, it looks like it's been low mow. See, like this is actually a separate. Like that little chunk, I have a different map where that's left out. But like, if you look at it, I wonder if I still have my pictures. I took a picture of it. It looks like you don't mow it too much, but it is being mowed. So I didn't know if we could include that or not. There do also, it looks like there's trails through it. So like we were trying to account for all the trails. Here's the two. There's like
the trail furthest over towards the parking lot.
Well, this one is a trail too.
Yeah, you counting deer trails now or no?
Well, there's a lot of trails over there. This one, so I don't think this is a trail. This I didn't mark it. This here is a frisbee golf hole, I think. And then they like loop back and come this way, maybe. And then this looks like somebody's trail from their house.
Yeah.
The only like what we would need to be official trail would be from here to here, because the majority of the low-mow area is obviously this hill here. Yeah. And so that would just need that trail, you know, from River Hill, which when we did our outreach, that's what we talked to people about. And like, I do have, sorry, maps. See, like we could just have it be a simple, like just cross right here.
Yeah.
This is 3 acres. When you add this in, this is 4 acres.
I
But
think
this has more complicated trail stuff going on over here.
that lower section, Laura, I think we just mow a couple times a year with the skid steer to keep it down and not get covered in brush.
That's what it looks like. Yeah.
So I think the designated low mow areas should be your 3 acres that you have.
This is the area that it looks like you mow every once in a while.
Yeah, we do
So-
that because there's some disc golf holes adjacent to that, and they
Yeah,
walk
there are.
there. So we'll just keep it that way and leave the other area, the 3 acres, as the designated no mow.
Okay, so that's better for signage. So we'll go with this one, the more simple, flat.
Yeah.
Start where people are hitting their balls, go to the edge of the forest, and then make a little walking trail between the two
Yep.
there. Okay.
Let's start with that and see how that goes.
Okay, and then Ashok wanted to attend, but I forgot to send him the link, so that's totally my fault. But he was wondering if it's hard for you guys to pick up the perennials. I know we don't even really know how that works because it seems like it's the first year Schenectady County's doing that, but he was more than willing to go, you know, with an army of people in their little cars to go get any perennials that the county would be willing to give us for our project.
I put the order in with our flower order, Laura. I checked that box.
Yay. Okay. So when that comes in, will you just let me know and then I can organize the volunteers to plant them?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Ray. That is
Welcome.
totally awesome and much appreciated. Okay, so the Knott Street Improvement Plan, number 14, I am organizing the feedback and tallying up the responses. And then MJ said that they would do a final draft that incorporates as much as the public comments as possible. So I'm looking to do that soon, as soon as I can. Could be a little while, but I'm going to try. And then the River Road construction, you guys touched on that a little bit. The contractor is mostly done, but the softball did have some concerns about rocks rising to the surface of the playing field. So I reached out to the engineer to see if he can look at that. And then Paul Briggs sent me a notice of claim for the disputed work. I'm assuming that the legal department is just handling that, but if anything's needed, let me know. The Rivers Ledge Parkland Fund, number 16, is that the town on March 30th decided to move forward with Rivers Ledge being allocated the full $250,000 for the linear park. So they are full bore out there. The contractor submitted a replanting plan for the trees. The tree council looked at it. I think they probably tripled the amount of trees that were initially proposed. Also diversify the species. The developer has stated they would like to enter a maintenance agreement with the town in addition to the roads. So I talked to Ray about that a little bit. What I had told him is just put a proposal together and send it over to us. It seems like if they want to maintain the park, that seems fine to me. I don't know. Probably just the part in front of them, though. Probably not the docks, but we could figure out exactly what they were talking about when they send it over. And they're trying to finish the park by spring so that it's available to the public in the summer. I was out there yesterday. I just sent them a couple emails about grading that I just want to make sure they're getting the grading right. But they have put in some retaining walls with the aqueduct stones, and it's really cool. So before, these stones were like these little piles of stones in the forest, and you really wouldn't go in there because it was all viney and overgrown, and you didn't even really know what they were. And very last like be able to touch them and feel them and be like impressed that they used to have this structure that's super historical, you know, in the town of Niskuna, and they've made them into walls that you can go and touch. And so it sort of looks like they look like old aqueduct walls that they've put out there. So that's very cool. And it looks great. We're just going to keep working on it because there's a lot of work out there. And for the bathrooms, I think, so the docs did come, they're sitting out there, but I didn't see the stiff arms out there, so I have to see what's going on with the stiff arms. And then for the bathroom, I'm still working on the vent fan and the water fountain, but that's the last two things that we need before we can open the bathroom, which I know people are going to start asking about when it gets warmer. Overlook Park, we're meeting with the Nature Conservancy to talk about a connection with the Leitchkill and how they can take over maintenance of the park. And then the last thing that I just wanted to talk about quickly with you guys, I think that I don't really know exactly how it works, but I know that there's people that are coming to the CAC meeting tonight to talk about it, is that there's concerns with your signs in Blatnick Park somewhere that say that there's restricted eagle nest habitat and people aren't supposed to go in, but there's trails right through the habitat. So I didn't know if there's anything I can tell the people that are coming to the meeting, or is there anything I can do to help? I don't know very much about that at all. I don't even know if anybody had any history on it either.
Laura, do we know who put up the signs? Laura, you're muted.
I'm happily chatting away to myself. I think they look like DEC signs. And I don't think I got any of the emails directly, but they have been emailing people, and they do want to come to the CAC tonight and talk about their concerns with the CAC. They asked for a login. But I don't know the history. And like, if nobody here knows the history, I can call the DEC and see if the DEC has the history. I just didn't know if somebody knew more than I did.
Yeah, those were put up when an eagle's nest was identified on the top of that knoll. DEC came in and put them up when there was an eagle nest on top of that hill at one time.
Is it gone now?
I don't know. I didn't go look because it's a restricted area.
Yeah, you followed the signs.
I know how to read signs. But DEC did put them up. So,
do you guys want me to reach out to the DEC and be like, are we still supposed to be restricting this area? And if that's true, should we put like caution tape across the trail or something? Or do we want to do anything more about that?
I think, Laura, these are the State Canal Corp signs. Seems that way.
Canal Corp, I mean, maybe. I think that's the DEC symbol there, and it says Department of Environmental.
Oh, it does. Okay, I cannot see it.
Yeah, I know, it's very small, but the Canal Corp doesn't own anything down there. This is Lock 7.
Okay.
But I could
Laura,
space with all of them. I don't mind.
Laura,
Yeah.
can you reach out to DEC, have them do an inspection of the area and see if the restricted can be lifted?
Can be relieved? Sure. Yeah, you think if that's the best thing to do, I do not mind.
Thank you.
And then I'll just report that that's my next steps at the CAC meeting tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Laura. Are you all set?
I am.
Okay.
And thanks to all you guys for all your help.
Thank you. The next item is the farmers market, which it just continues to meet regularly. As I've noted in the past, we're running a 15-week season starting July 10th, 15 consecutive Saturday mornings. Things are going along there as they have been, all looking very good. Again, continues to be a collaborative effort of a number of community folks. So looking forward to another great season of the farmers market. We'll move on to community programs. Lori?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm going to give you a driving range update. Our driving range opened for the season on May 1st and had to close on May 2nd due to the weather from Mother Nature. We've closed it just because it's very swampy and had to push back our lessons another week. Everyone was more than supportive about this, and we're hoping that the rain goes through this week, and maybe this weekend we can open it back up. If not, definitely next Monday. So this is an issue we always have in the spring. Nothing we can really do, but just doing the best we can over there.
Okay, hold on. I think Seth, did you have a hand raised?
I did. Rosemary, can you send me some information about the farmers market so I can put it up on the website? Because I haven't seen anything on the website about it.
Yeah, we have, it's actually Lori incorporated it into her summer booklet, our
Okay.
summer program. So thanks though. That's a great idea. Just have that independently. I'll take a look at what Lori has. Lori, if you could send that to me again, and if there's anything I want to add, you can add it or not. But we'll send you something. Thank you.
Okay, I can send that to Seth, and Seth and I were talking about it yesterday, that there needed to be a spot on the website where it was easier for the residents to find. So I'll send it to both of you. We can figure out what needs to go on there and where it can be placed.
That'd be great. I just couldn't remember. I remember looking at it initially. I just wanted to look at it again. Yeah, to see if there's anything else we should add, especially if we're going to have it sort of featured by itself. But yeah, that'd be great. Thank you both.
Okay, great. Now leading into our youth and adult golf lessons, we had a great turnout for registrations. We had 36 people within the 3 different sessions. That's youth and adult. This is probably better than we've had in the past, and yet he can still keep everybody spaced and within COVID protocols. So it's kind of exciting. We're just hoping to get the range back open again. And bringing us into the park calendars, Seth and I have worked very hard on this. I'm going to try to see if I can present it for you. So bear with me. I'm not very good at this. A window. Did my window show up? Excellent.
Yep,
I just wanted to show you how we would get into the town calendars. Instead of explaining it verbally, I thought it'd be easier to see. So if you go onto our main webpage, and I'm just going to use Blatnick's Park as an example because I had put it into the packet, then go over to Town Parks, and then click down on the arrow on Town Parks, and we're going to go to, let's say Jeff Blatnick Park, which is around here somewhere. Oh, where is it?
It's up near the top.
Oh, I got it. There you go. And click on the down arrow, and then you see where it says calendar. It's underneath there. It's also right over here on park calendar. And here we have listed everything, all the events that we have going on in the summer, except for pavilion rentals, is listed on this. And the only reason we don't have pavilion rentals and we're keeping that on Rec 1 is because it literally changes daily. So in order for, it would be too hard to maintain the 2 different calendars. But if you look right over here and say, click on agenda, it gives you a listing of everything that's going on. So if you wanted to go over to the park and wanted to see what was going to be happening over there, this is your go-to place.
That looks great.
And we also put a tab up on the main webpage over here for summer events, for things that are going out in the gazebo and on the lawn. And you'll see that all of our concerts are on here. And in July, we have the farmers market. So anything else that's going on at Town Hall will also be added, outside will be added on this calendar as well.
That's so cool.
Yeah, thanks very much to Seth, because he was the brains behind all this. I just input everything. So we're thrilled about this.
That's great. It'd be great if we could advertise that too.
Oh, without a doubt. We were going to work on the wording today just to try to, I wanted to show it to you to see if anyone had any questions, if maybe, because I've been looking at it so much, it seems simple to me, but it may not to somebody who hasn't viewed this earlier. So if you guys have any input, just let me know. And before we put it out there.
Yeah, it'd be good to go through the explanation of where it is and how to find it. And then, as you said, the pavilion, highlight the fact that the pavilion rentals aren't on there and that they're separate.
Exactly. Yeah, it would be too tough to, I mean, literally it changes every day.
No, that's great. Thank you, Seth. Thank you, Lori, for
Yeah.
your work. It's great.
Yeah,
we all-
it's a beautiful job. I wish that we could do it for every department or do it for the budget calendar.
So the other thing that was added to each individual park page, the parks that do have pavilions that can be rented, there is now a link on each one of those pages so that you can go and easily rent them. There's some more features I'm going to be adding to the website that don't technically have anything to do with this committee, but hopefully by the end of next week, we're going to be starting a local business directory. So for small businesses in Niskayuna to help them market themselves.
Nice.
Excellent. All right, I'm going to stop presenting.
And you're working with Edie on the senior portion of it too, right? For the
Yes, actually, Lori, if you could go back to presenting, or actually,
Got it.
Can you go back to presenting for a second, and I'll walk you through where. So we actually have two calendars going on there. If you go to departments and go to senior center, I believe.
Okay.
Yep. And then if you go to calendars, you have the link to their May calendar, which was that thing they used to generate. And then you have the actual calendar to the, that they're updating, and that should hopefully, they should be able to print that out instead of having to go into Word and manually make a calendar.
cool.
So much
Very
easier.
cool. Very helpful.
So yeah, and then the community center actually has its own calendar too, which the senior center stuff overlays the other, so in other words, you get the full community center stuff, including the senior center stuff.
That's awesome. All righty. Wonderful. I'm going to stop presenting. Okay. Excellent. So if anybody has any input about these calendars before we put out the wording to explain it to everyone, just let us know, and maybe we'll put it out first thing next week.
Thank you, Lori.
Okay. Now, number 19 is a sponsorship and ad initiative update. We have been working on this tirelessly and talking about it every month. And finally, we have a prototype attached to the agenda packet. It's a 4-page document explaining advertisement opportunities for everyone to participate and purchase banners in the town. They're 3x8 banners for a period of 1 year, with the prices of the dog park being $1,000, splash pad being $800, tennis courts $600, driving range $400, and town pool $600. I wanted to bring it up to this committee, and then we're going to talk about it again in finance to see if anyone has any input on this. We've had Elena look at it. She agrees with everything that's written in the contract. And we think that this might be a great source of revenue for the town and a great way for sponsors to advertise. So,
Lori, I think there were some questions about where you guys came up with the amounts in terms of determining rates, et cetera.
We were looking at other towns, and that's where we got a lot of our information is looked at different towns, how they were handling their sponsorship. This is totally up for negotiation, but that's kind of where we started from. So if we think it's too high, too low, just let me know and we can work on it. This was just a jumping off point.
Right, but your guidelines were other municipalities.
Other municipalities, correct.
Okay. Can I ask one question? Hey,
Sure.
Lori, when you were doing this, did you look at any of our internal costs to see if we are covering them and then maybe making, this like an admin fee for all the work and labor cost?
No, I didn't, because basically the upfront cost was me printing the letters and getting them out the door. I mean, I consider that part of my job. And the rest would just be kind of monitoring, just something else we would take on in this department. I mean, I could, but I don't know, that's up for negotiation. Just, I'm willing to hear everybody's input on this.
Okay. I will be right after this. I will drive to work and maybe we can just talk about it for a minute.
Absolutely.
This is a beautiful proposal. This is an excellent proposal. I know you have been working on it since I started here.
It's been a while, and
Lot of
we're
work.
really confident that people are going to be excited about it, and hopefully we can meet our goal that we had in our budget for advertising.
Mhm.
So,
Right, and just for clarification, folks are responsible for creating their own banners. We have no involvement in that.
exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Yep. And if their banner becomes in disrepair, they're responsible for replacing it as well.
Correct. And we have guidelines about that as well. Okay, that'd be great.
Okay.
We'll get together if there are additional questions. For sure, let us know.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Do we,
Can
do
I
we have
also?
guidelines on content of the banners?
Yes. Go
Okay.
ahead, Isma. You had a question. Sorry.
I'm sorry. So, yeah, especially let's talk about the pool and the splash pad. You know, where it's coming from, how much the cost is. So I will talk to you when I come back.
Oh, definitely. Without a doubt. Yeah. As I said, this is just a jumping off point, and I'm open for any suggestions. And my last, number 20, resolutions for May is for pool and summer staff. This is my big list. And I may have one or two more independent contractors. But other than that, that should be it for the summer, hopefully, before we go into fall. And I'll get that to Elena shortly. And that's it for me.
Okay, thanks, Lori. We're moving on to senior programs. Linda?
Okay, good morning. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. So just to start, I'm going to make a mention of the fact that there was a newspaper article in the Gazette on Saturday, May 1st, that outlined it had schedules and the outlines for all of the senior centers in the area or surrounding area. It's about 19 listings, and we were one of 4 that actually had like a very comprehensive outline and a listing of what we're doing. Clifton Park and Saratoga are working as well. Glenville has a limited, and then they had a really nice listing of everything that we're doing. So that was kind of nice to read. Exercise is going great. We have 5 days a week. We have good participation both in-house as well as online. Those schedules are listed, and we're getting really good feedback. So that's happy news. We currently have 3 card groups in-house. We have Mahjong that is getting ready to come back online, and we're getting inquiries from outside groups that are looking for space. So we may be adding to that schedule as well. Facebook, we had a nice update from Edie on that, and back in right before the pandemic, we had about 254 followers, and now we're up to 438. So that's kind of a nice bump. And we're also working, we have up by the pavilion, we have 2 long bocce areas as well as a horseshoe pit. And we have a volunteer who has the equipment and the know-how, and he is working with Ray to giving us the materials that we need. And all we need right now is for Mother Nature to cooperate. So as soon as she cooperates, hopefully we'll have more to talk about, but the upshot is that we're trying to revitalize those areas and make those nice so that they're a nice draw for seniors or even folks who rent the pavilion. So that's in process. And thank you for the trees. We had a lovely meeting with Laura and everybody, and Ray came over and they popped 2 brand new trees in around the facility for us, which will help us. And they talked about, maybe some future work too, which would be great. The meal program continues to do very well. It's far exceeded our expectations. And as an example, in that averaged about 17 meals a day. In 2021, which is just 6 months, we're over 2,000 meals. So we're averaging over 50 a day, which is nice. That ebbs and flows. Depends on the menu, depends on the weather, all kinds of good stuff. So having said that, with our budget estimates initially more conservative and the program kind of so wildly successful, it might be a good time to have a conversation for tracking purposes. So Lisa keeps us honest and she keeps on top of us for tracking numbers and data and so on and so forth. So she has all the detail necessary for a complete picture of our program, both past and present, and that would be a good jumping off point to have a conversation, just to kind of revisit and make sure that everybody's on the same page as far as how we're tracking and where we want to go. So, and just to kind of, I don't know, just to kind of give some perspective, our program before was a kind of a bloated program. We weren't necessarily, I mean, you get into these, you set up a program and you roll with it, and then time goes by and it just became to a point where we weren't necessarily serving the needs of our entire senior base. It kind of outlived its usefulness. And this new model, although you have to give credit where credit is due, and that's who knew about COVID, right? So COVID came and it forced us to address an old program and to get creative. And this program here, it seems to be a better model, and it better suits the ebb and flow of a broader base of our senior population here. So we've evolved, our seniors have evolved, we're trying to keep up with them. And just so you know, because I have the benefit of going in and getting the warm, fuzzy feelings from just watching this program and watching how we interact with our public and how things go. And it's really something. And we have folks that, we've closed twice now on them, and we've reopened, and they are there and they are with us, and they look forward to coming to see us. We give them a reason to get out. They've built a rapport with Vito that is very unique. So it's not only with Vito, but he's kind of the face, he's one of the faces of our program. So it's created this level of awareness that we didn't really have before. So we have caregivers that come through and they use our service because it helps them provide or take care of the seniors that they're in charge of. We have neighbors that pick up and deliver for older or sick friends. So it's just been really sweet. And I just wanted to kind of give you a little, snapshot of it.
No, you guys, Linda, you do a great job. I was there the other day for Earth Day, and you guys all take such pride in, decorating the space. It's always clean and very welcoming, and all the other programs you have going on with the card games, and to the meal, mention of the meal. It's great. It's been a new thing. People love it. It's a good product. They love seeing Vito. They love seeing their friends. I hadn't really thought about the fact that you do provide respite for, caregivers. It's just something to change, things up a little bit for them. That's that's really great. So, again, you all continue to do such a great job. You really helped our seniors, stay connected during a very difficult time, not only with the vaccines, but just, increasing your email list, increasing your communication. So it's just a nice, it's a wonderful program, and I'm glad you got some, attention in the article. Also really fabulous.
Yeah, that was always, it's always nice.
Yeah.
Well, we just want to make sure we stay on the same page with you guys, and if it was time to have that touch base conversation, whether it's, you three ladies and Lisa and whatever, we just want to make sure that everybody's got the, kind of the 360 view on what we're doing and how this is working, and then kind of, forecasting for the remainder of the year, because it just kind of exploded on us. So it's a great news story, but we just also want to make sure that everybody's aware.
Yeah.
So that, from the warm fuzzies to the budget.
Thanks so much.
Yep,
Thank you.
sounds great. We can talk about the numbers later. That sounds like really good news.
But you know what?
Thank you.
Okay, I don't believe there's anything else. Does anybody have anything else they want to add?
You know, striking ball, calls.
Laura, I think your mic is on.
You know, you just see the personal preference that the umpire has for the inside.
Somebody's talking, you can hear. Anyway,
Exhibitors will tell you.
we will adjourn the meeting. We're next meeting on 2nd at 8:15 a.m. And everyone have a glorious day.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks so much, all.
Thanks.
Bye.